AGC 2025.
Good afternoon to everybody. First of all, I convey my sincere thanks to the organizer for giving us this opportunity. So, I welcome you all in this panel discussion session, Responsible AI and Data Analytics, Sustainable and Inclusive Growth of Young Mind. All we know, AI and data analytics are transforming every aspects of our life, say from education, governance, industry, business, and innovation. So, however, great power comes to great responsibility. So today we'll have the great experts, and they are uh, good leader in their respective fields. We'll explore today how AI can be levers responsible to ensure sustainable development for while fostering sustainability. How actually ethically responsible AI is embraced by the using of AI for decision making. Why it is responsible? This responsible AI is important for AI in decision making. So let us start with our panel member. First, we start with Dr. Misra. I think he has a lot of experience, and I think all of you know he is presently the senior vice president of RS Software. So he has many experience with the data sets and responsible AI. I think he can address what are the basic needs of responsible AI in decision making.
Thank you. And first of all, thanks to AGC 2025 for inviting me in the conference. So we are talking about responsible AI and data analytics for sustainable and inclusive growth of the young minds. So I would like to cover a few points which is very pertinent here. First of all, it is important that we understand the data. Many a times we take and the plunge to work with the data without really understanding it. And it is interesting to note that natural human mind is not built to analyze data in its raw form. It is not. So we have something called intuitive misunderstanding. That is, we try to find patterns in chaos, whether the pattern may not be actually present there. We try to find it. We intuitively misunderstand the patterns. The second is we overestimate the likelihood of things that we have heard very recently or seen very recently. It is availability heuristics, it's called. Human mind is not really built to understand statistical formats like standard deviation. We don't understand. Our brain naturally doesn't understand standard deviation, and we cannot handle or understand very large data, like a very long, say, 16-bit byte or 16-digit data. We don't comprehend that. And then we have problems with understanding correlation and causation. That means we look at when we look at the data, we try to find out that this A is related to B, but we don't understand whether it's correlated or A is causing B. So understanding the data is a very important factor, and that is when we are doing working with data responsibly, we need to understand that. Why we want to do all of these? Because otherwise it introduces something called bias. Now this bias has a very bad impact on the responsive usage of responsible AI. And this bias, I'll give two examples. One is that a large company, the bias did something and their entire hiring process went for a toss. They biased against a particular ethnic uh, community. Second is lending. banks are lending, so there was a big problem with lending from a reputable bank who used AI, which had a lot of bias, and what it resulted in that they were trying to give loans to people who are, and the decision was not made on many facts, but it was more of swayed by bias for or against a community. So that was the problem. Now, when we are talking about this responsible and responsible use of AI and data analytics for the young minds, we have to understand this. India is having a very large young population like yours. So 50% of the population are less than 25 years of age and 65 below 35 years of age. So when you are getting into this domain of whatever what area that you're getting into, so you have to do a continuous education for yourself. And this problem is because it has been found by Deloitte that less than 31% understand or have the AI skills. And we from the morning we are hearing how AI is influencing every decision of our life, every engineering, non-engineering, social, everywhere it's getting impacted. So unless we understand the AI and how it impacts, we'll be you guys will be in more problem because we have lesser number of days to deal with than you guys. And in the IT professionals, only 12% understand how to use the AI in a correct way. So that is driving the natural reasons for continuous learning. And there's another problem, which is 90% of the top executives who take decisions, they really don't understand how to use the AI.
Sometimes are going into a zone of becoming a victim, right? So, sir talked about whether you are watching reels or not. I don't know if you have realized that there are conversations among friends, colleagues, people where we say that, you know what, this type of incidents is happening a lot. And the other person asks, how do you know that? And the answer is, I'm seeing lot of videos or reels which is depicting this type of an incident. Hello? Okay. Now the interesting part is that sort of an incidents or a commonality of those incidents is visible only to that set of that person only. Why? Because the reels, the clickbait within the reels or the recommender system within that reel is moving that person to see more and more events, videos, incidents, alerts, news articles of that type. So that person feels that there are, just this type of events happening at all. He's completely cut off from the overall picture, the big picture. Whereas the other person seems to be having a completely different idea. So this type of a situation where AI is kind of pushing you towards one direction, right? So a recommender system versus a parent. So when you are in a parent or a teacher kind of an environment, if you have clicked a wrong or not so great link, you would be corrected that look, this is not a great aspect or an idea or a situation. You are corrected. AI will not do that. By design, AI will push you in the direction that you have once clicked. So you are kind of going into a whirlwind of that type of an situation, right? Or that type of event. You feel the world is completely blue or green or saffron or whatever you like, right? Your world is becoming that color, right? So you miss the rainbow, right? And AI is deliberately, by design, doing that to you. So it's very important for young people and everybody else that you realize that these are the recommender systems which are pushing you in the direction. So you need to step out, step back and say, look, no, I'm not going to be in this clickbait. I will not be, right? I want to know the big picture, right? That is a basic principles of human civility that you must imbibe so that you are more skillful in the future that you are looking at now, right? Because
Good morning, everyone. I'm saying good morning on purpose because it's the post-lunch session, so I hope everyone's awake. And I mean, a big thank you to AGC for inviting me back this year. Clearly, I'm saying something right to get invited back to this council every year, year on year. But I mean, as I was sitting over there, I think almost exactly after a year, I think the last conference happened in Feb or in March again. So almost a year. I'm sitting after a year, and as I had spoken on a similar topic last year as well, and I realized that the amount of progression that technology has made in this just 1 year, it feels like 5 years have passed. Like there is absolutely no idea of the technology advancements that are happening with respect to time. I mean, one interesting statistic is that 90%, as per WEF, is that 90% of the data that is generated today has happened only in the last 2 years. So you can understand the progress that is happening in and out on a daily basis. Now, being a management consultant, I have this unique opportunity which I feel is there that I stand between this intersection of strategy of multinational organizations, where I have got the influence of technology, which is a big player, and I'm also seeing what kind of societal impacts it could have. And I mean, my esteemed panelists spoke about biases, spoke about how your social media tricks you into, it tries to suck you more into browsing different links and all. But I have a counter question to the audience. Like, has anyone ever tried gaming the system of, let's say, social media? By that I mean, have you ever thought of? I mean, let's say I'm watching a reel on football, and I let's say I watch a reel for, let's say, 2 seconds, and then I move on to the next reel, and let's say the next reel is on cooking, and I watch that particular reel for 4 seconds, and I follow that pattern 2 or 3 times. I'm browsing Instagram. Close my phone. The next day I do that. You will see, let's say, higher number of football reels and the highest number of cooking reels. And try gaming it any other way you want. And also understand that this technology, internet, is reaching to areas where we could not access before. Now, if AI is understandably trying to see that, okay, if he's spending 4 seconds on a reel, probably he's more interested in this particular topic. And this topic is not something which someone is supposed to be exposed to at a particular age or at a particular demography. I mean, is it the right way to do it? Who's responsible for it? Look, I mean, for all senses and purposes, this is not something that is ever going to go away. I think, again, amongst the audience, one did point out that AI is also turning out into a very good teacher. And I do not blame the audience because, I mean, earlier I was learning code from the teacher, now the AI is telling me the same thing. But where the maximum difference comes is we have to keep asking this question: just because I can do it, should I go ahead and do it? And trust me, the power that is going to come to us is going to be unlimited. The power that is going to come into our hands is going to be absolutely unlimited, but the responsibility that we have to take in implementing that power, that is something that can only be taught by us. And of course, if we start feeding the AI system accordingly, it is something that can grow with us. Yes, right now AI is becoming an assistant, but I feel that in the next couple of years, it's actually going to become a coder themselves. Then what is it that we are going to do? Our job is to guide whether that is the right way to do it or not. And
So, first of all, I want to a bit interactive. So, AI, in the sense, it may be the finest invention humankind ever made, or maybe the last invention. So that's why we are a bit skeptical. So there are two segments, if you know AI research or the way who controls the AI, one is Elon Musk group, another is Elon Musk against group. One is saying there is a doomsday, one is saying AI will transform the humanity forever. So, first of all, all these things, these buildings, lights and everything, these things are invented by or outcome of human intelligence. Now, why we come to this responsible AI? Because now we are talking something which can change the intelligence. And foremost, what is more important is that you all of us are working something, maybe I am working and all of you may be knowing or must be knowing the LLMs, the large language models, ChatGPT, maybe DeepSeek. So what they are doing or they are creating some strike to the things which human intelligence is built upon, that is the language. The moment we can conquer our language or somebody can conquer our language, that means they are driving our intelligence, and that's happening. So many of you maybe may know some company named DeepMind. Have anybody know that company DeepMind? Have you heard here, please? Not by Google. Google acquired DeepMind for some reason. But why DeepMind was famous or is famous? Yes? No? Yeah, you are right to some extent. Yeah, please go ahead. What is that? Yes, go. There is a game.
Okay, basically, yes, Go is a game, and DeepMind basically at that time it became very famous for defeating the strongest human player because at the time there was no computer that was quite as good as that.
Yeah, you're quite right. So DeepMind, it was found by Mustafa Suleyman. It is in 2010, and their intention was to create human equivalent mind, a human equivalent intelligence. So before that day, I think all of you know Deep Blue and all, that is the IBM, who has used computers to go as close as possible to human beings by beating Kasparov in a chess game. But that was brute force. That was intelligence, but in a brute force, because the number of moves in a chess game is finite. It is 2 to the power 64 minus 1, so it is finite. But the moment you go to go, so there are moves it's more than 2 to the power 2004 like that. So it is humongous. So there was one player called Lee Sedol. He was a pioneer, nobody can beat him for 1 decade. This DeepMind came into picture. They used something called deep neural networks and reinforcement learning. And that time the computing was not that strong. So all these GPUs were not there. So what they did some very intelligent, sophisticated way of dealing, how to control a move. Means if you know there is a move right or wrong, if you see there is a right or wrong, so based on reinforcement learning, they can take some different direction. Now ultimately with that game, Go games, which thought that it is impossible for a computer to beat because the number of permutations and number of moves are so many that any brute force cannot achieve that. So with that, DeepMind came into picture. The DeepMind system, so they call it AlphaGo. So they beat Lee Sedol in 9 games, 8 of them. And that was epoch breaking. Nobody understood how they have achieved that. So that was the time when people given from a cold shoulder to a warm welcome to AI.
AGC 2025, where data meets sustainability.